How do you balance a career in the spotlight with your personal life? Hello, friends. Today we are back with another interesting story. Once upon a time in a kingdom far away, there lived a beautiful princess. She was kind, intelligent, and compassionate. Everyone in the kingdom loved her except the vain and narcissistic queen, who was her stepmother. The two stepsisters are furious because the king promised them that they would be the ones to get married. They wanted the throne for themselves, and they knew their father would never go against them. So they went to their mother for help. The queen had two daughters of her own, but they were as ugly as they were evil. The princess cleaned the house and took care of the dwarfs while they were asleep. As a reward, the dwarfs gave her a comb made of pure gold. Instead, a horrible witch was sitting on the throne. The princess couldn't believe what she saw. She was put under a sleeping curse by the wicked queen and transformed into a blue bird. The whole kingdom rejoiced, and the kind princess was finally free from the curse of ugliness. After regaining her beauty, the princess did not want to use her last wish to become the most beautiful girl in the world, like anyone else would. Instead, she asked for the 7 dwarfs to become her bodyguards, always by her side, ready to protect her at any moment. They disguised themselves as common folk and followed the princess, waiting for the right moment to strike. If they spent a year working as her servants and learned to be kind, compassionate, and selfless, then she would help them become better people. But if they failed, they would have to leave the kingdom forever and never return. The stepsisters, desperate to stay close to the princess and the power she now possessed, accepted the deal. However, the princess's loyal bodyguards noticed their evil intentions and stopped them. Meanwhile, word spread throughout the land about the princess's kindness and compassion. People from neighboring kingdoms heard about her and wanted to meet her. Soon the princess's castle was filled with visitors from all around the land. Together, the princess and her retinue of attendants ruled the kingdom with fairness and compassion. As the years passed, the princess and her bodyguards grew closer. They shared a deep bond of friendship and loyalty that had been forged through their many adventures together. They told her that their beloved pet lamb had fallen into a well, and they didn't know how to get it out. Without hesitation, the princess called for her bodyguards. She knew that true beauty lay not in physical appearance, but in the kindness and compassion one had for others. As the sun began to set, the princess and her bodyguards returned to the castle. They had faced countless challenges together, and each one had brought them closer. The princess and her bodyguards had a strong bond that helped them overcome various challenges. The princess's transformation from a seemingly ordinary girl into a beloved leader shows that it is our character, values, and actions that truly matter. They supported and trusted each other, and their unity made them stronger. It encourages us to strive for excellence in all aspects of our lives, to choose integrity and morality over superficial traits, and to value the importance of friendship, loyalty, and humility. Just like the princess and her bodyguards, we can find strength and support in our relationships and achieve greatness by working together. Remember, true beauty lies not in our appearance, but in the qualities that make us better individuals and contributing members of society. Likewise, the stepsisters learned the significance of hard work, humility, and sincerity. By accepting their humble tasks and working diligently, they proved their worthiness and eventually earned the princess's trust and friendship. People from all around the land praised the princess for her intelligence, kindness, and courage. Together, they faced any challenges that came their way, always emerging stronger and more united than ever before. The stepsisters, exposed, ran away, but the bodyguards pursued them. During this time, the princess's loyal bodyguards stood by her side, protecting her and supporting her every step of the way. The bodyguards worked together, lifting up the heavy stones and clearing the well. Finally, they managed to pull the lamb out to safety. The story teaches us that it is our choices and actions that define us, not our physical attributes. The princess chose to value kindness, compassion, and inner beauty over superficial traits like physical appearance or wealth. Similarly, her bodyguards chose to remain loyal and true to their princess, even when faced with danger or temptation. The children were overjoyed and thanked the princess and her bodyguards for their kindness. They organized events, offered advice, and supported the princess in every way they could. The princess, recognizing their efforts, rewarded them with kindness and trust. Together, they had made her kingdom a better place, and its people were grateful for their combined efforts. They became not just her bodyguards, but her closest friends. The fairy was deeply moved by her decision and waved her magic wand. One day, while the princess was hosting a grand ball in her castle, the stepsisters approached her. She believed they had learned from their mistakes and were ready to embrace a new path in life. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the stepsisters promised to serve the princess with loyalty and devotion. They had completed their year of service and wanted to know if they had met her expectations. Poof! The 7 dwarfs were transformed into handsome young men, strong and brave, each one a skilled fighter. The only way to break the curse was to have someone spin a spindle made of flax. But since no one dared go against the wicked queen, the fairy remained trapped in her bird form. That's when the princess decided to use her second wish to save the fairy. And poof, the fairy was back in her human form. It was the same blue bird that came to her in the forest. But how could it be a witch? Each strand of hair on the comb contained magic that would grant one wish. The story takes a turn when the king, who is the father of these evil stepdaughters, announces that the princess will marry the prince from a neighboring kingdom. They became her loyal bodyguards, always ready to defend her. Overjoyed by her new companions, the princess embarked on a journey to explore her kingdom. She wanted to see the people she had been missing for so long and listen to their stories. One night, a mysterious blue bird appeared on her window. The bird spoke to the princess, saying, "Don't cry anymore. I can restore your beauty if you agree to help me." The princess agreed without hesitation. The wicked queen used her magic to transform the beautiful princess into an ugly beast. Then she took the princess's place and made the king sign the marriage papers, establishing that the beast would marry the prince instead. She missed her old life and worried about her people, though. So she decided to use the first wish to return to her kingdom. The comb granted her wish, and poof, she was back in her room in the castle. And after the wedding, the wicked queen ruled the kingdom, along with her 2 useless daughters. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, the real princess cried every day over her lost beauty and cursed her own self-centered nature. The bird then led her to a small cottage where 7 dwarfs were sleeping. As days passed, the princess became fond of the 7 dwarfs and started to feel happy again. But she quickly realized that something was very wrong. Her stepmother and stepsisters were dressed in rags and were nowhere near the throne. The princess confronted the witch, who explained everything. It turned out the bird was actually a fairy all along. Together, the fairy and the princess defeated the wicked queen and her 2 daughters, and the rightful king and queen were restored to the throne. However, this is where our story takes an unexpected twist. The men swore loyalty to the princess, promising to serve her until death parted them. Her stepsisters, envious of the princess's happiness, hatched a plan to take revenge. They brought the stepsisters before the princess, who, instead of punishing them, offered them a chance to change their ways. The princess proposed a deal. The princesses, overjoyed that her enemies had become her friends, continued exploring her kingdom. She welcomed everyone with open arms, listening to their stories and offering help whenever she could. They shared their own stories and dreams with her, and together they faced any challenges that came their way. The princess, true to her word, offered them a chance to become her ladies-in-waiting. From that day on, the stepsisters worked hard to become valuable members of the royal court. She knew that true beauty came not from physical appearance, but from the goodness of one's heart. She used her power to help the less fortunate, protect the weak, and make her kingdom a better place for everyone. The princess knew she could always count on her bodyguards to have her back, and they, in turn, were dedicated to serving her and protecting her. One day, while the princess was out riding in the forest, she came across a group of children who were crying. They immediately went into action, devising a plan to save the lamb. The princess, touched by the gratitude in their eyes, smiled. The princess knew she could always count on their support, and they, in turn, were dedicated to serving her. And so the tale of the princess and her bodyguards became a legend, reminding everyone that true beauty lay not in one's appearance, but in the goodness of their heart. Moreover, the story highlights the importance of friendship and teamwork. Furthermore, the tale emphasizes the idea that true beauty comes from within. It is not defined by external factors, such as looks or status. In conclusion, this story reminds us that while physical beauty may catch our attention, it is inner beauty, kindness, and compassion that make us truly attractive and admirable.